Ricky here, and you're watching Ricky Talk Shop. Welcome to part 2 of our Ultimate Les Paul Mod video series. What we're going to do today is get rid of this the plastic nut on our Burny Les Paul. And I have a couple of pre-slotted bone nuts. They're a little bit different dimensions, so we'll get this one off and then we'll see what fits best. I've just got a punch chisel, a small hammer, and we're just going to give it some taps, and it comes right off. Look at that. Sometimes they're a little more work. This one came off pretty easy. Next we have some flat files. Nut slot files, and we're just going to clean up that area a little bit. Just making sure I've got a nice flat surface to mount our new nut. Okay. And that's looking pretty good. So now we'll see which one's going to fit the best. That one looks pretty good. How about our other one? This one is a touch narrower, so we're going to go with our first one here. So all we'll do is just take a little bit of super glue, and it doesn't take a lot. And we'll get some super glue on our surface. And if you're ever doing this and you get a little glue that comes out an edge or anything, never try to wipe it off. It's always best to scrape the glue off after it dries. You'll make way less of a mess that way. And that'll just set right on. Next thing we're going to do is tighten our strings back up, because our strings will hold the nut in place while the glue dries. And after that we'll slot our nut file our nut slots. Nice backwards today. Go ahead and tighten those up. And this will also give us an idea how much we're going to have to file down the nut slots. Looks like these will have to go a fair amount. The last one of these I did was on an Epiphone SG, and it was actually absolutely perfect. I glued the new nut on, and I didn't have to do any filing, any other work. It just worked. So sometimes you get lucky. All right. All right, as you can see, real quick and easy, we have our nut installed. It looks like it's sitting straight. We'll go ahead, we'll give this some time to dry, and then we'll come back and we'll file our nut slots down to the proper height. All right, we're back again. Our nut has had time to dry on. And now I have a set of tools. This is called saw rods. And I'll try to show you one here. And they just look like this. Little bit of a saw end on them. And you can pick up a whole set like this. I think they were around $6 or $7 on eBay. And if you just search for nut files or nut tools, you'll come across these. And you can buy them pretty cheap. And I'm really trying to do these videos and all these mods. I'm really trying not to use tools that would be just ridiculously expensive or stuff like that. I want to show you guys that you can really do this, on your own. So first thing you do, you take and you find a saw rod out of your set that fits in our nut slot, like this one does. It's a good fit. And we check our string height, which is really high now with this new nut. So we're going to pull that. And you want to keep in mind too that these nuts, like on a Les Paul, the nut slot is angled down. We don't want to mess that up. And we'll check it every now and again. Still pretty high. I might go a size up on my saw rod. There we go. Now some of these materials that you might deal with are easier or harder to file. If you're dealing with a graphite nut, graphite has very, very fine particles, and it'll plug your files up pretty quickly. Obviously brass and metal is a harder material to file. And I don't know if I mentioned before either that the reason we're upgrading the nut on this guitar first before anything else at all is that the nut is the one place on the neck where all the vibrations of your strings are transferred into the neck of the guitar. So if you have a plastic nut or a cheaper nut, you're losing resonance, you're losing string vibration. A lot of times, like on this guitar, there was some string, the strings were sticking a little bit in that plastic nut, and that caused a little bit of tuning problems. That'll go away now. So we're fixing more than one problem at once. Always check and make sure you're going straight down. It's pretty easy to start getting off at an angle. And like I say, sometimes you get lucky. The last one of these I did was on an Epiphone, and it dropped right in. No fuss, no hassle. And the string height on that was perfect. Now, if you do spend the money, it can cost you can spend hundreds of dollars on a good set of nut files. One thing I'll say for them is they are quicker. So if you're doing this professionally, or if you're doing a lot of these, it can be worth it to buy those tools. But if you're just going to do one here and one there, and it's really not worth the money to buy that tool set. Because these do a very nice job. They're just a little bit more time consuming. That is still. And it's still pretty high. You always got to stop every now and again and just clean your files out. Because they get full of little bits of debris. And then they don't file anymore, and you're just doing nothing. And you'll be able to feel too when a file gets dirty and stops cutting. You'll just feel like you're just polishing whatever's in there. Alright, we're getting down there. Cut the other way a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit more and call that one good. The nice part with these is that they do cut pretty slow. And if you're inexperienced, it makes it a lot more difficult to overdo it and file too deep. Alright, there we have it. 1 down, 5 to go. I don't know if you can see. Kind of nice, easy, low action to push the string down now. I am going to turn the camera off and do the other 5. There's no reason to, no reason to show you all 5. You've seen the one. And they're all done the same way. You just open up your saw rods and you find the rod that fits in that nut slot and you file it out. I'll be back and we'll shape the top of the nut down. All right, we're back. I've got all of our slots filed down to a nice comfortable height. I tuned up the guitar, played it a little bit just to make sure that our string height was good. Now, as you can see here, those nut slots are pretty deep. So now we're gonna take off the top of this nut, get a little better height there, and we'll do that with just this same flat file we used to clean out the glue from the old nut slot, and we'll go until we just expose the tops. We want to just expose the tops of the strings. And I also just found a magic eraser. Works pretty well to get the crud out of your files. So that's good to know. Still got quite a bit of material to take off. And still more to go. close we're coming. Still a ways to go. Just going to kind of round this corner up a little bit too. We're getting pretty close. All right. All right, and there we have it, folks. Could have done probably a little bit neater job with some, you know, couple $100 setting up files, but for something you can do in not that much time with, I think I paid maybe $10 or $12 for this pair of flat files, and I think this set of the saw rods was like $6, and I found those on eBay. So not a lot of money, not very hard to do. Nice bone nut. This guitar will play and sound much better now. Be sure to check out part 3 of our video where we'll start making some pickups. Thank you guys for tuning in.